Have you ever felt like anxiety has a grip on you, trapping you in an endless cycle of worry? What if I told you there's an ancient teaching that can help you break free from this cycle of anxiety once and for all? In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you how a simple but powerful lesson from Buddha has helped millions of people find calm and peace within themselves. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have a tool that could change your life, and anxiety will no longer control you. Before we dive deeper, if you're interested in learning more about how Buddhist teachings can bring peace and balance into your life, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Here, we talk about meditation, mindfulness, and timeless wisdom that can help transform your mind. You won't want to miss our upcoming videos, which will be packed with helpful tips on improving your mental well-being. So hit that subscribe button and make sure to click the bell icon to stay up to date with our latest content. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. What is anxiety and how does it affect us? Anxiety is one of the most common emotions we experience in today's world. It follows us everywhere at work, in our relationships, and even when we're trying to relax. But did you know it doesn't have to be this way? Over 2,500 years ago, Buddha taught that suffering, including anxiety, is something we can learn to manage and eventually overcome. In this video, I'll walk you through a Buddhist teaching that could change how you face anxiety. Whether anxiety has been a part of your life for years, or you find yourself feeling overwhelmed in certain moments, the lessons I'm about to share can help you in any situation. Through a combination of meditation, mindfulness, and a deep understanding of Buddhist principles, you'll begin to see how anxiety can transform into peace and mental clarity. The goal isn't to eliminate anxiety entirely, but to learn how to live alongside it in a wiser and more balanced way without letting it control your life. The power to make this change is in your mind, and in the next few minutes, I'll show you how to unlock it. The root of anxiety in Buddhism. In Buddhism, it's taught that the root cause of anxiety and suffering in general comes from attachment. Attachment to material things, people, ideas, or even our expectations. This attachment creates tension and suffering when things don't go the way we expect, or when we fear losing what we hold dear. This attachment keeps us stuck in a constant state of worry about what we have or what we think we need. In many cases, anxiety arises from the fear of losing something valuable or not getting what we want. Buddha identified this cycle in what's called the Four Noble Truths, which teach us that suffering, including anxiety, has a cause but can also come to an end if we understand where it's coming from. Anxiety isn't an external problem. It's an internal response conditioned by the way our mind works. The source of anxiety lies in our attachment and our aversion. We want what we think makes us happy and reject what we believe causes us discomfort. This constant back and forth keeps anxiety alive and well. One of the key teachings in Buddhism is that everything is impermanent. The things we possess, the relationships we build, and even our emotions are all temporary. However, our minds often become attached to the idea that we must control everything, that we must hold on to what makes us happy, and avoid what causes us pain. This attachment is what chains us to anxiety. By learning to observe life through the lens of impermanence, we can begin to release these attachments. And with them, we can also release the anxiety that comes with clinging to things that are fleeting. Detachment, a Buddhist teaching for overcoming anxiety. Detachment doesn't mean rejecting or abandoning everything in our lives. It means learning to relate to the world in a freer way, without fear or desire controlling us. Instead of fighting anxiety, detachment teaches us to observe it, understand it, and free ourselves from its hold. Let's take a deeper look at how anxiety arises from the Buddhist perspective. Buddha taught that the cause of suffering, and therefore anxiety, is called tanha, which means desire or craving. This is the desire that drives us to seek safety and comfort while rejecting pain and discomfort. But the world is in constant flux, and the things we desire or fear are beyond our control. This leads to a cycle of dissatisfaction. When we get what we want, we fear losing it, and when we don't get it, we feel frustrated and anxious. The key to breaking this cycle is understanding impermanence. Nothing in the world, including our emotions and thoughts, remains the same. Anxiety arises when we cling to the idea that something should be permanent, whether that's a relationship, a life situation, or even an emotional state. When we accept that everything is temporary, including our thoughts and emotions, we can free ourselves from the suffering that anxiety brings. The practice of observation without judgment, a great example of how the teaching of detachment applies to anxiety, is the practice of observing our thoughts without judgment. In this practice, we are invited to observe our thoughts and emotions as if they were clouds in the sky. Clouds come and go, and in the same way, anxious thoughts arise and disappear. We don't need to cling to them or identify with them. When an anxious thought comes up, we can simply notice it without reacting. It's like watching a cloud in the sky. It will eventually drift away. Mindfulness and meditation, tools for calm. In addition to observing without judgment, Buddha taught us various practices that help us free ourselves from anxiety. And one of the most powerful is mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness helps us stay fully present in the moment without being pulled into the worries of the past or the future. When we are truly present, there's no room for anxiety. After all, anxiety usually comes from worrying about what might happen, not about what is happening right now. The practice of mindfulness begins with something as simple as breathing. Through conscious breathing, we anchor ourselves in the present moment, moving away from the anxious thoughts that tend to pull us out of the here and now. Buddha taught that by focusing on our breath, we allow the mind to calm down and return to the present moment. Each time we breathe in and out consciously, we strengthen our ability to be present and not get lost in anxious thoughts. Breathing becomes our refuge, a safe space to return to whenever the mind feels overwhelmed. But how does this work in everyday life? Let's consider a situation where you feel overwhelmed by anxiety, like when you're stressed at work or upset from a disagreement with a close friend. In those moments, the mind starts to fill with what-if thoughts such as, what if I can't finish this work on time? Or, what if I said something wrong? Instead of letting these anxious thoughts spiral out of control, you can stop and bring your attention to your breath. Take a deep breath in, and then slowly exhale. By doing this, you realize that these anxious thoughts are just that, thoughts. They don't have the power to define your reality unless you allow them to. Breathing creates a space between you and your thoughts, and in that space, you can choose not to let anxiety control you. The power of compassion in combating anxiety. Another important teaching from Buddha is the practice of compassion, not just toward others, but also toward yourself. Often, anxiety is made worse when we are too hard on ourselves. We criticize ourselves for feeling anxious. or for not being able to manage a situation as we think we should. Buddha taught that compassion is one of the most powerful forces for transforming both our mind and heart. When we treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, recognizing that it's natural to feel anxious at times, we give ourselves the opportunity to heal and grow. Self-compassion allows us to free ourselves from the burden of guilt and self-criticism, creating an internal environment that's more conducive to peace. You might be asking, how can I bring these teachings into my daily life? The answer lies in consistent practice. It's not about making a radical change overnight, but incorporating small actions every day that bring you closer to a calm mind, free from the grip of anxiety. Start by dedicating just a few minutes each morning to conscious breathing. Sit in silence, observe your breath, and take note of any thoughts or emotions that arise. During the day, remind yourself that anxious thoughts are like passing clouds. You don't need to hold on to them. Over time, you'll naturally integrate these practices into your life. You'll find that while anxious thoughts may continue to appear, they no longer control you. Your mind becomes stronger, more resilient, and anxiety starts to lose its grip. Instead of seeing anxiety as an enemy, you'll learn to recognize it as a signal to return to your practice to breathe, to remember that everything is impermanent, and to realize that you can handle any situation with calm and clarity. Buddha's approach to managing anxiety, a process of transformation. Buddha's teachings for freeing ourselves from anxiety are not a quick fix, but a continuous journey of internal transformation. Through understanding attachment, impermanence, observation, without judgment, mindfulness, and self-compassion, we can dismantle the mental patterns that keep us trapped in anxiety. By practicing these teachings, we not only reduce anxiety, but also cultivate a clearer, freer mind that's better equipped to handle life's challenges. Meditation is one of the most effective tools Buddhism offers for reducing anxiety. Through meditative practice, you not only calm your mind, but you also develop the ability to observe your thoughts from a detached perspective without letting them dominate you. In this chapter, I'll guide you through a meditation practice specifically designed to reduce anxiety and show you how you can integrate it into your daily life to find lasting peace. A meditation for reducing anxiety. The meditation we're going to practice is based on two fundamental principles: conscious breathing and observation without judgment. These are central to Buddhist teachings and especially helpful when it comes to calming an anxious mind. The goal of this meditation isn't to eliminate anxious thoughts entirely, but to change the way we relate to them. By learning to observe them from a place of calm, you'll start to detach yourself from their grip. Before we begin, find a quiet place where you can sit comfortably. You don't need to worry about having perfect posture or sitting in a specific position. You can sit on a chair on the floor with a cushion, or even lie down if that feels best. What's most important is that you're relaxed but alert without any tension in your body. If you're sitting, make sure your back is straight, but don't force it. Rest your hands on your knees or in your lap. Let's now focus on your breathing. Inhale deeply through your nose, feeling the air fill your lungs. Then exhale slowly through your mouth, releasing any tension in your body. You don't need to control the breath, just allow it to flow naturally. With each inhale, imagine you're bringing in calm and serenity. With each exhale, imagine releasing any worries or anxiety you're holding on to. Repeat this process a few times, allowing yourself to relax more deeply with each breath. Now bring your attention to the natural flow of your breath. Don't try to control it. Just observe how the air enters and leaves your body. Feel the coolness as the air enters through your nostrils, travels down your throat, and fills your lungs. Then feel the warmth as the air exits again, carrying away any tension. Each breath is an opportunity to anchor yourself in the present moment, leaving behind any worries about the past or future. As you continue to focus on your breath, it's natural for anxious thoughts to arise. Perhaps you start to worry about something you need to do later, or maybe repressed emotions start to bubble up. Don't fight these thoughts. Don't try to eliminate them. Instead, simply observe them. Imagine that each thought is a cloud passing through the sky of your mind. Clouds come and go. In the same way, anxious thoughts will appear, but they will fade away. The key here is not to identify with those thoughts. When an anxious thought arises, instead of saying, "I am anxious," recognize it as just an anxious thought. This small shift in language helps you distance yourself from the emotion and reminds you that you are not the thought. You are the observer of it. You are the sky, and the thoughts are just the clouds. As you continue to breathe and observe your thoughts, you may notice that some thoughts come back again and again. Maybe there's a worry that seems to persist, or a situation causing ongoing anxiety. In these cases, rather than avoiding the thought, invite it in. Let it enter your awareness. Observe it closely, without judgment. Ask yourself, what is this thought trying to tell me? Often anxious thoughts are our mind's way of alerting us to something we care deeply about. But by observing them without reacting emotionally, we can disarm their power and see them more clearly. The role of self-compassion in reducing anxiety. Another essential aspect of this meditation is self-compassion. Many people with anxiety are harsh on themselves, thinking I shouldn't feel this way, or I should be able to handle this. But judgment only fuels anxiety. Instead, Buddha encourages us to practice compassion first toward others, and just as importantly, toward ourselves. If you're feeling anxious, instead of criticizing yourself, try offering yourself kindness. Remind yourself that it's human to feel anxiety. You're not alone in this experience. Everyone at some point feels anxiety, fear, or insecurity. By accepting your emotions with compassion, you can soften the impact of anxiety and create a safe space for healing. Repeat quietly to yourself, "It's okay to feel this way. I allow myself to feel this anxiety without judging myself." This simple act of self-compassion can have a profound effect on your mind and body, helping you relax more deeply. If at any point during the meditation you feel overwhelmed by anxious thoughts, return to your breathing. Breathing is your anchor. When you feel lost in thoughts, simply return to your breath. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly, and observe how little by little the anxiety begins to lose its grip. As you continue practicing, you'll notice that anxiety doesn't disappear overnight, but your relationship with it will begin to change. Instead of reacting automatically to anxious thoughts, you'll be able to observe them calmly, as if watching a movie on a screen. Anxiety may still arise, but it will no longer control you. You'll become the witness to your thoughts rather than being dragged along by them. Bringing Buddhist teachings into your daily life. Now that we've explored meditation as a tool to reduce anxiety, let's talk about how to apply these teachings in your daily life. Meditation and mindfulness are powerful, but they don't just work while you're sitting quietly. The true practice begins when you face anxiety in real-world situations like at work, in relationships, or while dealing with daily stresses. Mindfulness is a key principle for applying Buddhist teachings in every moment. Mindfulness is the ability to stay fully present, observing both what's happening within you and around you without judgment. Anxiety often arises when we project our minds toward the future, worrying about what might happen or what we need to do. But when we practice mindfulness, we root ourselves in the present, preventing those anxious projections from taking over. For example, imagine you're facing a stressful deadline at work. The pressure builds, and anxiety starts to settle in. You feel your shoulders tense, your breath becomes shallow, and your mind repeats, "What if I don't finish on time?" Instead of letting those thoughts dominate you, you can take a mental step back and observe what's happening. Notice the thoughts and sensations without labeling them as bad or threatening. Simply recognize them as thoughts. They're not reality, just your mind's interpretations. You can also practice conscious breathing, as we did in meditation. Inhale deeply, bringing your attention to the physical sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. This helps calm the nervous system and break the anxiety cycle created by your thoughts. Even in a busy office or a stressful moment, you can take a few seconds to close your eyes, inhale deeply, and return to your center. This small pause can completely shift your mental state, helping you approach the situation with more clarity and calm. Another technique is to recognize what you're feeling without trying to change it. Often, when we feel anxiety, our first instinct is to get rid of it quickly. But Buddhist teachings tell us that fighting against emotions only gives them more power. Instead, we are invited to simply acknowledge our feelings. You might say to yourself, "In this moment, I'm feeling anxiety." Recognizing the emotion reduces its power and allows you to see the situation more clearly and objectively. By practicing mindfulness, self-compassion, and recognizing impermanence, you'll gradually develop a healthier relationship with anxiety. You'll find that anxiety no longer has the same hold over you. You'll be able to respond from a place of calm instead of reacting impulsively. Final reflection: how to live with less anxiety. As we wrap up this journey through Buddhist teachings on anxiety, it's important to reflect on how to incorporate these practices into your everyday life. The goal is not to eliminate anxiety completely, but to develop a wiser, more peaceful relationship with it. Anxiety will still show up, but with regular practice, you'll be less likely to be controlled by it. Start with small daily practices, a few minutes of meditation each day, mindful breathing, or simply observing your thoughts without judgment. Over time, you'll notice that you feel more grounded and present. The next time anxiety arises, you'll be better equipped to handle it with calm and clarity. Remember that this is a process and it takes time. But with patience and consistent practice, you can transform your relationship with anxiety, living more fully consciously and peacefully. As we come to the end of this video, remember that the teachings of Buddha offer us timeless wisdom for managing anxiety and finding inner peace. Anxiety may still show up from time to time, but by practicing mindfulness meditation, self-compassion, and the understanding of impermanence, you can develop a healthier relationship with it. These practices help you break free from the mental patterns that trap you in worry and stress. The goal isn't to eliminate anxiety altogether, but to create a space where you can observe it accept it, and respond from a place of calm and clarity. With consistent practice, you'll find that anxiety no longer has the power to control you. Instead, you will become the observer of your thoughts, recognizing them as temporary and learning to coexist with them in a way that brings peace and resilience. Take these teachings into your daily life and remember that transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process, but with dedication, you can experience more peace, more presence, and more freedom from the grip of anxiety. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share it with anyone who might benefit from these teachings. Stay tuned for more content that will help you cultivate a balanced, peaceful, and mindful life. Until next time, take care of yourself, breathe deeply, and remember, peace is always within your reach.